we have any other silly things people want to do. So right, we've had Joanna, we've had Robertson's via Zoom, we've had Bart, we've had Roger. Irene is next.
Well, this is a bit of a problem because I've got short-term memory loss and I have to remember what I was going to do. And find it, which I've been running up and down all day trying to find things and getting them, and then they don't want them and I take them back. But anyway, I'm visual. So I've got my little cross on with a love heart in the middle of it. So Norman and I love each other very much, and we love each other more nowadays than we ever did in the start, believe it or not. And again, the Christian thing, that we are very strongly Christian. Is it coming across?
Yeah, can you look into the camera? Can you see the camera? There's the camera. Can you see
Oh, I can. Okay, cross. Heart. Greenstone heart, by the way. Now, then, that's it. This, a trowel, has been mentioned quite a bit already. He loves gardening. In fact, I used to be quite envious. He'd come home from work and go out in the garden. Never came to see me. However, just the other day, this handle had come loose, and actually I think this is my father's trowel, or perhaps it's fairly ancient anyway, and it was all loose. And I can't stand this. He said, oh, use the other one, and it's great thick bottom. Well, I don't want that. And he grabbed it, and he rushed out, and he took it off, and he changed it, and he stuck it. There you are, he says, and it's fixed it up. So he's a fixer. But he also has been mentioned, he loves trees, and one of the first things he said to me when we started going out, oh, I do want to grow pine trees. And the other thing, he said, I want to live in Hokitika. However, it happened. I was very docile, I suppose. The other thing is we had in common that we both learnt the piano, so we did have music in common. But it really wasn't until we came down here and joined the band. That's all Sarah's fault. Sarah was at high school, and old Mark Thompson, some of you'll remember, grabbed her and encouraged her to be able to have a cornet. So she came home with this cornet and then wept because she washed it and she couldn't get it back together again. But anyway, we had a crisis over that, but we put it back together again, and she went to band, and we had to take it down, we had to bring it back, and took it down and brought it back. And then the band said, we're short of members, and I said to Norman, that sounds interesting, doesn't it? You know, honestly said. So I think I actually said to Mike Thompson, oh, well, we possibly, seeing we've got a cart Sarah up and down, and perhaps we might join the band. Well, about 2 minutes later, Norman had an E-flat bass, and I, at that stage, I had the flugel horn, and we were in it. That was us. We were in the band. You know, we've loved it very much. I think you've heard all about that. The trees have done very well. I do remember that when we bought the land at Emoto from Cobden, it's only just over the bridge, up the road a bit, so it was a good idea, except I really wasn't sure it was a good idea. And Joanna was, I think, 6 weeks. And I remember we traipsed up this road, and the man that owned it said, oh yes, and it's been shown that I've actually had it looked at to make sure it'll grow trees. Well, that was the end of it. And what on earth are we doing in this place? There was a survey peg there, and there was gorse, and there was an old scrubby bit, and this little baby. But anyway, we got there, and he bought it, and there we are, and then he bought another bit, and it's got quite big. So I don't know how many trees we've got, I've no idea. And we've had actually accomplished a whole rotation. I'm really proud of that. That, you know, we have had it so long that I think it's 25 to 26 years you grow them, and we actually cut them down successively and put in some new ones. So it's not a bad effort really as trees. Now, somewhere I hope, well, what do we do with it? Oh,
egg or something
well,
else.
no, there's the topo map.
Oh, the map. You want the map?
Oh, can't find it.
Can
Just imagine a topographical map. Because when we got together, it turned out he had a collection of topo maps and I had a collection of topo maps. So in his office still there's 2 collections of topo maps, which meant we both were very interested in maps, very interested in land. I liked looking at it, and I did like tramping. So, you know, that was something we had in common. But it also shows, as has been mentioned already by the family, he loves exploring. I hadn't actually realised he went off on his own in the Southland, but what happened in the Tauranga Tramping Club, I was teaching art, and some man said, oh, we better have a tramping club, and Norman thought so, and I thought so, and other people thought so. So we had a new Tauranga Tramping Club, and it went out, I don't remember how often. There was this fella stomped along, never spoke to anybody, and there was a whole lot of other, all the extroverts, so we all tramped along. So for 4 years, Norman and I never spoke to each other. You wouldn't believe it, would you? In fact, my mother engineered it all. She thought it was about, seeing I was 29, it was time I got married, and I thought I was going to be a solo artist in my art studio with a view of the mount in Tauranga. It's just the thing, the mount down the harbour. And so I bought a bit of land, and my mother encouraged me because they had to shift from house to house, and because my mother couldn't pay the rent, so she said, you've got to have a bit of land. So I got me a bit of land, and it turned out Norman had surveyed it. And then my mother said, oh no, a friend said, well, you better have a Guy Fawkes party. Oh, what a good idea, let's have a Guy Fawkes party. And I was in a girls' school, and my mother said, you can't have that, Mrs. Ruben, he's next door, and she's going to be afraid of the fire. And she said, you've got to have a man to look after it. Well, the man to look after it, what am I going to do? And then I thought, oh, there's that fella that's a Boy Scout in a tramping club. So I thought, I'll ring him up. And then I realised I didn't know what his name was. So I rang up another old guy, and the tramping club was quite safe. And I said, who's that fella that somps along with him? I think he might be a Norman, but there was two of them, that was the trouble.
Who was two Normans?
Two Normans, yes, that's right. So it definitely wasn't that one, it was this one. So he said, oh, he's a surveyor. I rang him up at the office. So I dutifully found out the police and rang it up. And I found out years and years later, there was only one phone, and it was on the boss's table, and the boss yelled out to Norman, hey Norm, there's a girl we're bringing up for you. So he put on all prances, and then there's this girl talking to him, and the boss obviously was trying to pretend he wasn't listening. I said, would you like to come and look after the fire on my section? I'm having a Guy Fawkes party, and my mother says I'm going to have a band to look after the fire, and I'm sure you're a Boy Scout and you'd handle it. So he said, oh, I'll come. And that was his downfall. Well, the worst thing was he said he'd come back and clean up the next day. That's what he really felt. My mother had it. Right, now, I did bring some puzzles. Because, and I was actually going to bring a dictionary or an encyclopedia or something that we thought was better, because Sarah gave it to him, and really helped him through his recuperation for his knee. Actually, he's spent the last 4 weeks getting through that. But he's very intelligent, and he loves looking stuff up, and it's ideal for the sermon side of it, because he's got all the theological stuff, and we've got all those encyclopedias, and long before you have to just, he does go onto internet, I think, sometimes nowadays. But the Christian thing was actually very important to me, which I didn't mention before when I had the cross. I was determined, being a strong Christian, I wasn't going to marry a guy who wasn't a Christian. All the fellas in the Canterbury Tramping Club who were engineered, well, no, this is before that, and the Canterbury ones, they were all Philistines. None of them went to church. The parents might have. And then all these ones in the Tauranga one, they were all Philistines. They never went to church. It actually turned out, as was said, Norman was a server as quite a young boy in the church, in both the churches and in the Cargill, and was quite comfortable in churches, although he'd taken the fright and not gone back about the time I'd got back to Tauranga, because they hinted that they thought he might run the church in Hokitikai's youth group. And he got a wind of it and he fled, and he never went back. However, he certainly is, I think, quite studious for all that. Yeah, I think that's probably enough for me. Most of
What about the
yeah. Dear friend of mine, Eleanor Reddix, who some of you older ones may remember, who, dear lady, used to say that marriage is like two broken halves of an eggshell, and you put them together, and it takes quite a while to just get them back in the right place because of all the broken edges, and that's what marriage is like. There's going to be some friction, but eventually it all sort of gets closer and closer together and joins up. And I think, you know...
You rub the corners off, right?
Yeah, you rub the corners off. So anyone contemplating marriage, don't be too put off. Realise it's going to take a bit of time to gel, but it does work in the end. So, I think that'll do.
Okay. Now,
Oh, he's the man.
oh, she's
There you go, just to prove it. We both got copies of that.
Take your own bit of the camera.